Yo, what is up? What is up? I got the Locked On NBA Big Board crew in the building again. This is 3 nights in a row, and today we are going to get off our hot takes. What are some of the hottest takes from the NBA Big Board crew? Stay tuned. All right, this is the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, your daily NBA draft podcast. I am Rafael Barlowe, the director of scouting for NBA Big Board and the founder of NBA Draft Junkies. I'm also the guy that somebody told I should stop mentioning that in my intro because I'd be nothing, and all of us would be nothing if it wasn't for Chad Ford. But anyway, I'm a little biased because I still think no matter what this, I was about to call him a name, but what this guy says, this is the best NBA draft crew on social media and on YouTube. So I got Richard Stayman, aka the Clip God, who is wearing a Charlotte Hornets James Bouknight shirt today. The Clip God. Then we got Sam Ferris, aka the Intelligent One. Even though his name is Draft Dummies, his Twitter name is Draft Dummies, he's just fooling you. We all know he is super intelligent. And then we got the grinder, Leif Thulin, who says he watches more college basketball than anyone. Now, that is probably the boldest statement than anyone. So if you feel like you watch more college basketball than Leif, then you should probably challenge him with some stats because he has info for days. All right, guys, I guess the draft is tonight, right? So let's get off some of these hot takes for the draft. I will start with you, Sam. What is your top hot take for what happens in a few hours?
Okay, so my first one's kind of like a prediction for a few years down the road, more so than on draft night. So two of my favorite guys that I'm higher on than the consensus in terms of looking at the guard position are Blake Wesley and Bryce McGowens, two guys that I have higher than the consensus, two top 20 prospects for me. So the way I've formed this into a hot take is I'm going to say by year 3, one of the two of those guys will average at least 16 points per game in an NBA season. So kind of following like the Jordan Poole kind of mold there. By year 3, either Blake Wesley or Bryce McGowens, kind of hedging my bet a little bit, are going to average, one of the two will average, around 16 points per game by their third season.
Well, I know for sure you have two big Blake Wesley's supporters in this crew right here. I don't know if Richard is one of them, but I know me and Leif, we are big Blake Wesley believers. And if I'm not, I wouldn't be shocked if you just took Leif's hot take. That would not surprise me at all.
I'm kind of appalled right now. That was just about word for word my take, but I'll extend the one I was gonna. It's a little different, but it's the same players. I had Blake Wesley, Jaden Hardy, and Bryce McGowens. Two of the three become 20-point scorers by the end when their careers are said and done. And I'm saying that like maybe 1 or 2 years they score 20 points per game, and two of those three will do it. And you can toss in Malachi Branham as well in that. I just feel like that he's getting lottery consideration, so it feels a little different to put in 4, but I'll say 2 of those 3 or 4 become 20-point per game scores.
All right, 20-point per game scores on a playoff team or 20-point per game scores, period? Because I think there is a difference.
I'll go one of those two is a playoff team score, and one is not. I think it's hard to say without knowing which team to go to.
All right, I'm going to throw Richard a lob for his hot take. Kendall Brown or Jeremy Sochan?
Man, I don't want to be the one to go negative here. Everybody else is like, good things. And now you're just about to make me go, no, I hate this, which is not at all what I actually think. But I go Kendall Brown. I still have him 14th on my board. I have Jeremy Sochan in the 20s. Specifically, I have Sochan at 22. For me, it's just I really don't know. I personally don't know if Sochan ever scores double digits points per game. Doesn't mean he can't be impactful. There's plenty of players in the league that are very impactful single digit scores. Draymond Green has been one, for example. But I really do wonder about how much he actually sticks in the NBA just because of that. Again, that lack of first step explosiveness off of fakes, and he can't shoot. So like, what does he do when he catches it in the corner? What happens to the offense? I have a lot of concerns about that, but I'll go in a positive for Kendall Brown, so I'm not just the negative Nancy in the room. I think Kendall Brown is actually going to be the best version of what Josh Green could have been. You look at somebody who is more truly set up to be a small ball 5 in the way Josh Green should have been, but the measurements weren't as favorable. Kendall Brown has an over 7-foot wingspan, more functionally athletic than Josh Green was and is, and not far off of a passer. I think he also can handle the ball a little bit more. Jump shot, I don't know if it comes along. I really don't, but as long as he's not taking bad shots, which seemed to be his forte at Baylor, was just taking smart shots. That's why he was shooting over 70% to start the year. I think he can stick in the NBA a lot better than Sochan can.
Well, I have to come back to you and ask you this question. What should Josh Green have been?
He should have been almost a smaller, I hate saying Iguodala for everything, but he should have been a better defender. I think the defense has been underwhelming personally. The passing and cutting is very nice and the effort is cool, but the impact, he's a positive player. Like advanced stats absolutely love him, but I thought he was going to be a way more impactful role player who comes off the bench and just locks the opposing guys, the opposing, scorers. I don't want to say stars, but just the top scorers up and is able to hold his own. But we've seen him get cooked on defense by any first option. He can't contain first options. I think Kendall Brown will be able to from day one.
That makes sense. All right, here is my hot take. Mark Williams will be a top 10 player in this class when it's all said and done. Now, I don't know if he gets drafted in the top 10. I think he should. I've seen him dominate games. I mean, I feel like some of the best games of the season, if he wasn't in foul trouble. I mean, I think back to that Gonzaga game. You can make a case and say outside of he maybe been the best player the entire game. I know Paolo got off to a hot start. But yeah, I think Mark Williams can be a top 10 player when it's all said and done in this class. And a little bit of information that I've been hearing is that multiple people, and I just tweeted it out, multiple people, even some scouts that were in some of his workouts, believe that Mark Williams will be able to stretch the floor. Which, on one hand, when I heard stretch the floor, I'm thinking, okay, short corners, elbows, and they said no, they think that he should be able to eventually develop into a reliable or at least decent shooter from 3. All right, it's back on you, Leif. Another hot take.
I've got one. I don't think this one's crazy, but we'll see. Jalen Duren will be an all-star within the first 7 years of his career.
I mean, he'd only be like 24.
Seriously.
I'll go 5. I wanted to give him development time, though.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying he's so young that when he's like, and I'm joking, but I think he can be like, how like Devin Booker, you look up, you're like, how are you about to be on your 3rd contract? And you're still, I don't even know if Devin Booker's like 26 yet, but Mark Williams is super young, like Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond's only 28. That is crazy. And Derek Favors, I don't even know if Derek Favors is 30. Those are 2 of the craziest stats out there. All right, Sam, you got a scorching hot take for us?
Leif and I keep taking ours from each other.
So
don't
you guys both live in Utah?
I know. So I was gonna say Jalen Duren makes an all defense team in his career, especially, and you tweeted this out, Rafael, like an hour ago. There's reports that the Raptors might be trying to move up for that number 7 pick involving OG. And I think Jalen Duren's going to be really good either way. But if he ends up in Toronto, that would be a phenomenal fit. And that would make me feel much more confident about this. But since that one was already taken, I'll give one more where I really like, I think there's a lot of guys that are going to drop early in the 2nd round that I like. So the way I'm phrasing this one is, I think 4 or 5 years from now, when we do a redraft, there'll be 2 guys in the top 15 or so in a redraft that get picked out of like the 31 to 40 range, like the first 10 picks of the 2nd round. So I was looking at the Bleacher Report, but you can pick any mock draft. In the 31 to 40 range right now, we got guys like Christian Brown, Bryce McGowan's, Trevor Keels, Kendall Brown, Jalen Williams, Ryan Rollins. Those are guys we all like. I think 2 out of those kind of 7-8 guys end up being top 15 guys in a redraft 4 or 5 years from now. I just think with the depth in this class, like those first 10 picks in the second round, I think there's going to be some major steals there. Richard already talked about Kendall Brown. I tweeted that out. I don't understand how he's going to end up being a second round pick. I love the value there. You guys love Ryan Rollins. I really like Bryce McGowan's as well. So a lot of value there. I think 2 out of the first 10 picks of the second round will be like top 15 or so guys in a redraft 5 years from now.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I don't think there's that much difference between picks 15 and 35. And I feel like I've been saying this since like January. And some general manager is going to look brilliant. It's going to look like a genius because you may get a couple Herb Jones type guys, maybe not right away, but you may get a couple guys that end up being high level rotation players in before their rookie contract ends that were second round picks. All right, it's on you, Richard.
Wow. Well, I'll go positive this time. I almost went with another negative, but that just can't be my brand here. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with a couple guys that I see as all rookie guys, probably second team. I doubt any of that either of these are first team, but a couple guys that are going to be picked below what I expect 15 that make the all rookie team. And that's Ochai Agbaji from Kansas. I fully buy his shooting. Think he's going to get a couple assists a game just based on, I love his ability to find shooters off of pump fakes. I think it's something really underestimated about him. Don't know how good the defense is, but I think it can be masked given his athleticism and length. And then also Jalen Williams from Arkansas. That one really depends on where he gets drafted. If he gets drafted to a team where he can play more than 15 minutes a game, really 20, I should say, because 20 minutes you need to really flirt with all rookie. I think both of those guys are potential all rookie players. You look at for Jalen Williams, the dude is like the textbook jack of all trades, master of none player. Room to grow as a jump shooter. He's Kyle Lowry level charge taking already at 20 or 21 years old. And you look at the jump he made just overall, he's just so impactful on both ends of the floor. I think it's going to translate almost in a way that Herb Jones's role translated so cleanly to the NBA.
And, I like him a lot, Jalen Williams, that is. And I spoke to a scout and he did not like him in their team workouts. His exact words were, he was all bark and no bite. He did more talking and barking than anything else. And I know, like, I can't let that one opinion kind of sway how I feel, but this scout was totally off of him. All right, let's talk about draft night, which is tonight. One live NBA draft show is not enough for Locked On. Every show is going to be live tonight. So join your favorite hosts 15 minutes before their pick, whether it's Locked On Mavs, Blazers, Locked On Magic, Locked On Thunder. Join them 15 minutes before the pick on YouTube for the immediate reaction from your local expert. Subscribe to your favorite Locked On Teams channel right now so you will know when they go live. Now, this may sound familiar to you. Boom shakalaka. I remember when I was a kid, but we have big news. And the one and the only NBA Jam is back. Arcade 1-Up, which is the leader in at-home retro arcade games, is not only bringing the best game back, the best game ever. They're not only bringing it back, but they've made it bigger than ever with a, wait for it, Shaq Edition machine. And people are so obsessed with the NBA Jam. And I'm thrilled to tell our listeners that once again, you can play hoops with the NBA legends in this arcade classic. So you can jump clear across the court and set the ball on fire in one of the first sports games ever to feature real and digitized NBA licensed teams. There's no fouls, no free throws, no quarters required. Compete with friends and family through our all-new Wi-Fi leaderboards, making you more connected than ever. Pre-order now from arcade1up.com. That is arcade, the number 1up.com. And the estimated delivery is early September. The estimated ship date is early September. Arcade1.com, arcade1up.com. They have more classics like Golden Tee, Mortal Kombat, and many others starting at just $3.99. And now check this out. They are giving away an NBA Jam Shaq Edition to a Locked On listener. So you are listening. That means you are a Locked On listener. You should enter for a chance to win the game console for your man cave at arcade1up.com/locked on. That is arcade, the number 1up.com/locked on. You have until July 8th to enter. to win the NBA Jam Shaq Edition console. Do not miss out. Enter today. Leif, who are you going to play with? I think Leif was too young for NBA Jam. Am I correct there?
Yeah, I didn't play much of it, but I'd have to go with Stockton and Malone.
What about you, Richard?
Nah, Penny Shaq.
Sam?
Stockton and Malone also for me.
The Utah boys stick together. I'd probably go with I don't know. I guess I'm gonna go with the Blazers. I don't even remember who the Blazers had. I'm assuming Clyde Drexler and Terry Porter. All right, I guess it is on me for a hot take. And this is, I mean, the numbers and the statistics will back it up. But whoever is the number 2 pick in the draft is probably going to be the worst of the guys selected in the top 5. That's just my hot take.
Go on.
Is that like, specific to one prospect? Yeah.
No, I just say who's ever number 2. You look at the past few drafts, sometimes the guy that goes number 2 just hasn't been as good. I remember I just saw it a few years ago. It was a big debate between who is going to be better between Bagley and Ayton. And Bagley was number 2. And Bagley you can say he was the worst out of the top 5 in that class. Was Derek Williams number 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was Hasheem Thabeet number 2?
Yeah.
Can I read the number 2 picks of the last 10 years? So it goes Jalen Green last year, James Wiseman in 2020, John Morant. You got Marvin Bagley, Lonzo Ball. Granted, Markelle Fultz was number 1. They were both misses. Brandon Ingram.
That was good.
D'Angelo Russell. There was just back-to-back years, number 2 and number 1 both hit. Jabari Parker, Victor Oladipo, and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and then Derek Williams.
So 50-50, or maybe.
It's been just about every other year outside of a couple, like just random times where back-to-back.
It's almost been all-star, role player, bad, really bad.
I mean, it's like honestly, you know what a fun game would be? As if you did the equivalent, the basketball equivalent, and pardon my language, even before I'm not actually cussing, but MFK of basketball bust role player star. Like, if I had thought of that before, we could have done a whole segment on this. Like I would.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just remember I think there's other guys even before to beat. It was somebody else that I can't think of off the top of my head. That was the number 2 pick. Maybe it was Kidd-Gilchrist, but can you believe he's out? I mean, Kidd-Gilchrist and Jabari Parker are both out of the league already. What year?
Jabari's still like halfway there.
He didn't finish.
It's I mean, he's not doing anything impactful, but he's like there.
What was the last team he played for?
Boston, I think.
Boston, yeah.
He worked out with the Jazz the other day with the draft work.
I saw that.
Yes. Did you see the names on that list? I mean, both of those guys are not even 30 and they're out. All right, that was my hot takes. Probably can get me a little trouble later on down the line, but it's on you, Leif.
Yeah, I got nothing to rival that. So I'll give a positive one here, but that's going to take the cake unless someone else has something really cooked up. I'll go 2 WCC products that I think are going to be high draft picks, and they're not named Chet Holmgren. One is Jalen Williams. I think he's going to go in the lottery, and at the very bottom, he's going to be picked 16th. And then the other is Andrew Nembhard is going to go in the top 25.
You stole one of mine. Andrew Nembhard is going to be, in my opinion, a backup point guard for one of these playoff teams, and he's going to be like Tyus Jones. That was one of my hot takes.
Yeah, I've been watching some Nembhard film, and I'm posting my final big board in about 30 minutes, and he's steadily climbing.
Sam, the man.
All right. So my next hot take is there's a couple Kansas products. My hot take is that Christian Braun ends up being the better pro as opposed to Ochai Agbaji.
You got to elaborate on that one.
You know, I have him pretty close on my board, like within a few spots, but figured I'd go with the hot take there. But Christian Braun's been a riser for me as I've gone back and watched film. He's a guy that I've always liked analytically, but he's going to go end of the first round, I hope, or my hope is he goes to a good team that plays more of a motion system, because his feel for the game, his cutting, his movement off ball is so good. He gets talked about as like an underrated sneaky athlete because he's white, but he's just a good athlete. And yeah, just like one of my favorite micro skills or things to watch in this class is just watching Christian Braun off the ball offensively. He just constantly is floating into the right spot. As a Warriors fan, I would love to see Christian Braun in that motion style offense in Golden State. And so I think if he ends up in a playoff team, that I think he can play a role for a team like that from day one. I'm lower on Agbaji than the consensus, obviously. I view him as kind of a late first round pick. I don't see as much to his game outside of the 3-point shot in the defense. Don't think he has the handle, the passing, or quite the feel that Brown does. But again, that's just my comparison versus the consensus. I have them pretty close on my board, just a few spots apart.
Actually, I wanted to kind of change gears a little bit. Did anybody see the article about the Suns today in ESPN about their draft philosophy or lack thereof? And the first person that I thought of, if the Suns had a lottery pick, they'd take Ochai Agbaji, because they look at him as like, he can come in and play for us right now. We don't care about potential and upside. And it makes sense how they drafted Cam Johnson. But then they also took Jalen Smith, who I like, who I think is going to be a good fit. But I thought that article was very interesting, and it just kind of makes what we do seem like is way too much. And I mean, their philosophy is so minimal. All right, Richard, it's on you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a two-parter. I'm gonna counter. I actually, we're flipped, Sam. You and I have very opposite opinions on Brown and Agbaji. I really don't trust Brown's game to translate personally. I think he's got an issue of premeditating a ton of his plays, especially in transition. I mean, if he sees the rim, he's going to the rim. And I think it's going to be stoppable in the NBA. I worry about how low the dip is and how slow his jump shot is to really shoot over defenses in the NBA. I think that was almost hidden. I don't trust him to pull up at all. Even off of pump fakes, he didn't really pull up outside of like a true, pump fake, take a hard dribble, pull up into somebody's face. He really couldn't do that. And also, I do not think he has a left hand, and that scares me a lot. I don't think he likes finishing with his left hand. I haven't seen him ever go with the straight line drive left hand. So that really scares me. And then lastly, just the foot speed on defense is nice. I do think his skill on defense is good, but I wonder, with a negative or square frame, whichever it was, does his defense translate to the NBA? And I think even if half of those things get cut in half of their ability as they were in Kansas, I just don't know if he sticks. And then and then the other part was just going to be like, I think Wendell Moore, really wanted to spit it out, but Sam said the Christian Braun thing and I just couldn't resist fighting back. But I think Wendell Moore goes top like 17. I don't think he's there past, I think the Rockets is his floor.
So I was at the combine and I sat next to some scouts and they had similar concerns about Brown's shot. They felt like the dip is low and they're wondering how he gets it off against NBA length. But they were saying, like, if he plays with like a Giannis or somebody that creates a whole bunch of gravity, then it may help. And then what Sam said, anybody that says he is not athletic or to question anything about his athleticism is just not paying attention. Like, that guy is a very, very good athlete regardless of his ethnicity. And I mean, just watching him at the combine during the transition drills, he gets up. He's actually more athletic than some players that we label athletic. And I just think that's just, poor stereotyping there. All right, here's a hot take, and this is directly aimed at my guy, Richard. I just thought about it. 2 of us are in Dallas and 2 of us, and the other 2 are in Utah. So I'm going to pick on my Dallas guy. Kennedy Chandler is going to be a starting point guard in the NBA one day.
When is that day? I'm curious when you think, like what year?
Year 3.
I could see it. I mean, like, we talked to a player who knows Kennedy Chandler, and you remember what he said was like, that dude's got bunnies. That dude can jump, and that might be a saving grace for him. I just worry about his jump shot, but
he shot 38% from 3.
Yeah.
I know you don't believe in it.
Yeah. How much of it was contested though? That's like against big length. That's what kind of concerns me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's going to need to shoot contested threes in the NBA, but I really like Kennedy Chandler. For some reason, I think he lands in Memphis, which is not going to give him an opportunity to be a starting point guard if he's there. Hometown kid, but I think that he's going to be dynamite in the second unit to start his career. And then I think he's going to outperform that position. He's going to end up being somebody that they end up trading because they feel like they can't afford him. All right, Leif, it's back on you. Another Leif hot take.
Yeah, I think most of my hottest takes have been fired, but let's see what you guys think about this one. I've got Ousmane Dieng is going to be picked 8th or 9th. And I don't think I think that's it right there. I think he's risen up draft boards. I think not too long ago, I had him around 14. That's actually where I have him still. And people were kind of talking like, "Oh, did you watch the first half of his season?" And now he's potentially going to be picked 8th or 9th. So I'll leave that out there and see if that's lukewarm or hot. But that's a take.
I think it's fair. I just want to know, and I'm not saying it like a direct question. I just want to know which of the guys that projected ahead of him falls down, whether it's Johnny Davis. It has to be Johnny Davis, Sharp, Mathurin, maybe Dyson Daniels. I don't think Keegan Murray falls, but somebody's going to fall if Ousmane goes to the Pelicans or to the Blazers.
Yeah, I would lean toward it be Dyson Daniels, AJ Griffin, and Johnny Davis being the two of the three could fall, meaning he'd get a chance in there. I don't know. I just think that those fits make sense, and they've got the ability to kind of swing there, and I've seen some links tying him to both those teams.
All right, Sam, it's on you.
All right. My next one is, in my opinion, as prospects, the gap between Jaden Ivey and number 1 on my board is smaller than the gap between Jaden Ivey and Keegan Murray. So, in other words, I'm lower on Keegan, higher on Jaden Ivey. I don't think there's really a debate there at 4 for the Kings. If they stay, they should, in my opinion, take Ivey. I'm just a bit lower on Keegan Murray for a bunch of different reasons. The kind of ironic thing is, I would really like to see Keegan Murray go to like a good team where he can just be like the 4th starter on a good team in a motion offense, where I like his opportunistic scoring. I like his ability to play a role. I like his ability to fit in and find ways to contribute. But if you're taking him at 4, expecting him to be a star for a bad team, I just think you're kind of asking for a bit of trouble there. So higher on Ivey, lower on Murray, especially in a situation like the Kings.
I'm thinking the only clear path for him possibly to get to a good team is if Sacramento and Toronto work out some trade with OG, and I just don't see it happening. Yeah. But other than that, I can't see it happening. But I think your assessment is fair. I think if he goes to like a really bad team and the expectations are for him to be like your go-to scorer, then I think I just don't think it's a good look for him. All right, it's on you, Richard.
MarJon Beauchamp. I have a lot of concerns about him. I wouldn't be shocked if both him and I'll kind of split this in half. MarJon Beauchamp, I think, doesn't finish his rookie contract with the same team that he was drafted by. I don't think it'll be by trade of like, hey, we're using him to get a star. I think it's going to be, hey, we don't want him anymore. He's going to be 22 in training camp. I think people are really overlooking that. And I don't buy him being able to shoot at all. His mid-range was like, okay. 3-point shot was not that good, and free throw percentage was relatively low. I think it was like 71% or something like that, give or take a percentage point. I don't know if I buy him at all. I kind of keep him in the 31, 32 range because he will get drafted and get more opportunities. But from a pure talent evaluation, I think there's a lot better players. The other half of this is I think Jaden Hardy's out of the league in 3 years. I'm very, very down on him. That one's probably the hottest one. Yes, it's scorching. No, you look at a 6'4" guard who I don't really think he creates that well. Like, it's a good trait, but it's like not a standout trait at all. And he's not explosive. I don't think he really creates a ton of space in the G League. Don't think he's going to do it in the NBA. And I don't trust the shot to really translate that much. I think he's going to be out of the league in 4 years. Is my guess. Not 4 years. He'll get a chance. He'll be like out of, you know what I mean? Like the same way Jabari Parker isn't out of the league yet. It's going to be like he's going to be floating on that line pretty quick. Just the need for an undersized or below average scorer in volume that loves to shoot not that high.
Which even makes my point that I made in a Big Board article even more stronger, is that if he does the Shaedon Sharpe route, he's a top 5 pick coming into this season, which guarantees him about $20 million. And if he ends up being like you say he is, then that ends up being like that's a humongous mistake that he would have made. So very interesting. That's definitely the hottest take. I think we may have to end it on that one. But I have one more. And this is my hot take. And this is going to be funny. The Sacramento Kings are going to make the right decision tomorrow or today.
Okay, that's hotter than mine.
Yeah. That's taking Jaden Ivey, correct?
I haven't thought about it.
What is the right move?
They are due to make a good decision. Actually, the right move is to try to figure out if you can leverage what the teams are looking for in Jaden Hardy. And if you like Keegan Murray, then maybe I don't know if there's a way they can make both happen. But I do think that it's a new front office. We are kind of judging them based off of the last 16 years. But my hot take is, and I don't even know the answer to it, but they are going to make the right decision tonight.
Can I play devil's advocate for the Kings real quick?
Yeah.
Because they've only had one real bad pick over the last 5 years. It was unfortunately the worst one to miss on with Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic. But Tyrese Halliburton, I don't think Davion Mitchell was really a bad pick. It definitely wasn't a good pick. It really wasn't a bad pick. They chose De'Aaron Fox in 2017. I think they're, for the most part, I think they've actually been underrated as drafting. They miss it. They miss when you can't miss, but they get their hits when they can, play with a little bit.
Yeah, but then they just went and traded away Halliburton.
And that's the thing, though. But on draft night, they're getting better at draft evaluation. So progress.
Yep.
They're going to make the right decision. That's just my hot take. I don't know what the right decision is. It doesn't seem like, I don't even know. I mean, even with Jaden Ivey, man, I keep getting these Jadens and Jalen's mixed up. He hasn't worked out for them. And I know that he's a CAA guy, and that so is Halliburton and all of that. So I don't know. I think that whatever it is, they make the right decision. I don't know if they get some type of deal from one of these teams. It sounds like there's a bunch of teams that are trying their hardest to move up to 4. So we will see. All right, guys. Well, that wraps it up. It is going to be a crazy night tonight. And for those that are listening, you can check us out on the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. We'll be covering the draft. And now I want to talk to you about the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft. Those picks have been made. And you search now for the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft, and you will get over 50 insiders, the Odyssey Sports experts, the draft experts, which is this crew you're listening to right now. And the 5 episodes of the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft are underway. Make the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft your first listen. Once again, this is Rafael Barlowe with the NBA Big Board crew, Leif Thulin, Sam Ferris, and Richard Stayman, and we are out.